to the thought of the idea of
Yeah.
starting a winery?
Well, it was never actually on our radar. It was a tremendous amount of work and time and effort to get here and to maintain this. But, Jason, my husband, and I, he makes the wine. We consider ourselves craftspeople. And then myself, I'm a lifelong artist, educator. So either teaching art, writing art programs, working with kids, working with adults. And I remember the day Jason brought home a piece of wine barrel from work, and he said, I thought this was kind of pretty. It was a red wine barrel, so it was stained, with the red wine in the barrel. I wasn't sure if you could do something with it. I actually studied painting and drawing, so I was more two-dimensional, and I had that barrel piece in my studio for quite some time. This was when I was teaching full-time, and then one day I thought, maybe I'll just carve into it. I'll carve a tree. I did, and I gave it as a gift, a wedding gift. And that was really the first piece that connected me to the winemaking process. So yeah.
So when you go out, into the fields and into your forest and whatnot, what inspires you, and how do you choose which leaf over another leaf to pick up?
It's a good question.
To incorporate into your art.
So I've learned a good bit about the leaves in our area, and I've enjoyed the science of learning what they are and what their story is and what their history is and whether they're medicinal or invasive or any of that. So that can influence what I'm attracted to, but mostly it's intuition. So the artistic process has a lot to do with intuition, I feel.
Right.
And when I take a walk, I usually... So sometimes I start with an idea, yes, and I'll go out and I kind of know what I'm looking for. Other times I don't at all, and I just go and I am led to where an idea is going to unfold, and that's usually through, a leaf. And now I've learned seasonal leaf picking, so I understand what's early spring, late spring, summer, and fall.
Right.
So what started as vineyard leaves has now expanded based on our property to include a variety of leaves, paulownia leaves, tulip poplars, garlic mustard, Mayapples. Yeah. And we'll take a look at some of those as we walk.
Yeah, maybe
I can show you some of those places.
That would
Bugs,
be nice.
Yeah, they're part of it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and ticks, unfortunately.
Well, one of the things that I use to keep ticks from getting on my feet. Now you'll see here. I'm gonna pan over here to our feet. We're both wearing sturdy, low hikers. Good shoes for both the rainy weather and the rocky terrain we're covering. And one of the things I will do, and I will show this in an outtake, is take just common gardening sulfur. And I'll put it in an old sock, about enough to, anywhere from about a tennis ball size, slightly smaller clump of it. But I'll just pound it against my ankles and feet, and that prevents ticks. And that was actually something we used to do in Texas when I was growing up. Prevents ticks and chiggers and other parasitic insects from climbing up your legs.
Like a regular garden store?
Any given garden store will have just standard gardening sulfur. And it will stop ticks and other crawlies in their tracks.
Nice. Yeah. I'm getting some. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because nothing else seems to work, and I definitely don't want to use DEET or any of that. So there's a couple of Mayapple along here still. Usually Mayapple are my early spring leaves. They're so lovely.
Oh, I love all that. I try very hard not to tromp on the moss and whatnot.
Yeah, this is a really nice mossy stretch coming through here. It's one of my favorite parts of the property. So we're coming along. These are the tulip poplars.
Oh,
and
wow.
if you look up high, maybe a little bit further down, but they get quite large, and that's when it's exciting.
So is this one the one I'm looking at right there?
Yeah, this
one here,
right here. So there's actually a sassafras growing in as well.
Yes, I love the sassafras.
So sassafras is here. It's actually a coagulant, I learned. So you can actually eat these leaves.
Yes.
And they're fun because they have the different shapes. So they have the three fingers, the oval, and then there's a thumb. We do have sassafras prolifically on the property, which I love.
And you can make all sorts of things like sassafras tea. And
usually that's with the roots. So here's tulip poplar here. You can see as you get up to the top, the leaves get quite large.
They do.
Compared to here more at the bottom. So that's the older growth. And that's what I
Young
find
leaves.
exciting. So it can be a little adventurous. They do bend pretty well, so I'll try to bend them over and get, you know, the bigger leaves.
Uh-huh.
So this is burdock. This is one of my favorite leaves to use. There are different species of burdock, so the leaf shape varies slightly in size. This is on the smaller side of a burdock leaf system. I can show you when we get back to the building, but they can get like very large, and that's very exciting for me when I see that, because it's challenging to work with it in clay. But burdock is, you can harvest the roots. It's a form of bitter, so it's really good for your digestive system. You can tincture the roots as well. But generally I just let them be and pick the leaves and make bowls. Now when I harvest, I never obliterate a plant, right? So I selectively pick the leaves I want to use and leave the rest of the plant to carry on. But I'll probably make some smaller bowls using these a little bit smaller leaves. But burdock is one of my absolute favorites. It's fun to find. It loves fields, especially sides of fields. So when I'm driving and I see a patch, I get really excited, and I'm that strange person pulled off on the side of the road running into the field to try to get the leaves. Yeah. I actually had a police officer pull up behind me once.
And
he just really wanted to make sure I was okay.
Yeah.
But I was like, yep, I'm good. I'm just getting some leaves.
I have done that very same thing. But usually it's, you know, oh, there's a snake that I need to help off the road because it's sunning itself, or there's a turtle crossing the road, and the police will pull up. I'm like, no, all good.
I'm good. Just doing my thing.
Yeah.
So if you want to walk this way, I'll show you some of the leaves that we saw out there today.
Ooh, I like that one.
The fountain, or the
the fountain.
The fountain, yeah.
That's incredible.
These are very popular. These are grape leaves. These are Tannat leaves that were from the front vineyard that you saw first. This is the burdock that I showed you.
Oh, how beautiful.
It's just a lovely leaf. The vein character is just wonderful. This is mayapple. We didn't actually see any mayapple out there today.
Wow.
Early spring leaf. I work with it a lot in the spring.
Oh my goodness.
And this is mullein. So I actually sculpted, you know, some of what the flowers look like in the mullein. Definitely a different experience pressing mullein because of the texture of the fuzz. So that's just some of the ways that I use the little tiny baby oak leaves. I love the
Oh, how sweet.
spring. They don't have very good vein impression, but their shape is.
The shape is definitely striking. And this is your hawk moth arts.
Studio and gallery.
Studio and gallery. Wow.
Which isn't
Sandy and I have so much to share yet, so tune in next time. See you soon.